I'm Logan Crawford, and right now on GBN, we're exploring a powerful memoir of courage, survival, and renewal. It is called Three Faces of the Devil and is written by a terrific author. Her name is Marly Bergerud. And in the book, she takes readers through the pain of childhood loneliness and abuse, the triumphs of professional success, and the ultimate healing found through storytelling. It's a deeply moving narrative that proves the human spirit can survive darkness and rise again with strength, hope, and purpose. We're delighted to have this very talented author join us here today. We thank the team at Atticus Publishing for helping us put her on TV today, and we ask viewers like you to support authors like her by subscribing to our channel and by purchasing her amazing book. The links are below this interview. Marly, thank you so much for joining me here today.
Thank you for the opportunity. It's nice to meet you.
It's nice to meet you as well. You describe your book as a journey of my soul. Talk to us about that phrase and what it means to you and what you hope readers take away from it.
I thought a lot about what that journey has been to me or for me, and realized that there's some difficult, not so nice parts that a lot of people go through. And yet in doing so, I discovered I could come out on the end and have a very successful, wonderful life in spite of that. So I thought it was worth putting down because so many people go through similar circumstances such as I have.
Exactly. I think it's important for people to know there is light at the end of the tunnel, and it sometimes doesn't matter where what you're going through, it matters where you wind up. And that's so important. The end is important, and the journey along the way once you've overcome the challenges. Talk to us about the title of the book, Three Faces of the Devil. What does that mean?
Well, the devil initially was the fire that burned my father and set set up many emotional instances as a result of that that affected or impacted our whole family. And then my father became an abuser of my mother and myself, which was very difficult to overcome. And then thirdly, the third face of the devil is cancer. And I have a hereditary BRCA gene, which many people have. And in 2014, I had a double mastectomy thinking I had taken care of the problem. And yet last winter, I discovered that that cancer was still hanging in there and came back as bone cancer. So those are my three devils. And yet my life has been an adventure, and I've had great success as well as sorrow. And I felt it was worth writing about.
Absolutely, absolutely. We're very happy you shared your story. Talk to us about how your love of dance and music helped you cope with the challenges that you faced growing up.
But seriously, I had dancing lessons for like 18 years, and
Mhm.
that was all I wanted to be in life, was a dancer, if you can believe that. And so I really worked hard at it. And in 1957, my dance coach got me an audition for the Ted Mack Amateur Hour in New York. And I thought, oh, this is the start of my career. And so I went with my parents, who were buyers for our clothing store, to New York on a buying trip and had my audition. And my dance was prepared for like a big stage with lots of movement to it. And so when I got to the CBS studio and it was time for my interview, I go into the room and it's like the size of a small bedroom. And I thought, oh my gosh, how am I going to handle this? But I did the dance, and I knew it wasn't going to be a hit. So needless to say, they didn't need any more tappers. But that was really my driving force, was I love tap dancing.
And what a
But
thrilling moment to be on like a top or have the opportunity to be on a top TV show like that. And TV back then wasn't like TV now. There's not
And
like 1,000 channels. There were three channels, and that was one of the most popular shows ever.
yeah,
So the numbers today don't pale in comparison to what shows like Ted Mack's Amateur Hour got and so forth. So that must have been a thrilling time, and I can see why that memory sticks with you.
well, I love to dance.
Yeah.
And so actually, in the year 2000, when I had taken a job as a vice president at a community college in Northern California, I thought, I think I need to start dancing again. And that was, yeah, 2000. And so I started ballroom dancing. And that was great until my knees gave out because I am an older person.
Yeah.
So it wasn't the way it used to be, but it was really fun.
That's cool. That's cool. Yeah, I think those first loves of performance never go away, you know.
Mhm.
One of these days I'm going to do a play again. I used to love acting in plays. I do mostly film and TV now, but I'm longing to get back on the board. So we got to put that down.
Cool.
But I'm right with you. The love for performance never goes away. What was it like writing about trauma? Writing about trauma can be re-traumatizing, or was it cathartic? Tell us a little bit about what reliving some of the painful memories were like.
I've written so many technical books about computers.
Hmm.
So for me to move over to the other side and try to write dialogue and something about emotion was very complex for me.
Mm.
And I studied with a lot of different people in getting this done. So, but as far as the emotion, it was pretty technical.
Mhm.
It's like I knew I had to get certain things down. And so I methodically did outlines and outlines and more outlines and kept adding things that I felt needed to be in there. So sometimes it bothered me because it would take me back to that time. But I I looked at it more like a textbook since I'd written so many textbooks, and
Right.
that I just needed to get the words down. And I had multiple content editors working with me at different times, and that was very helpful. But writing about emotion was hard for me because it's just hard for me to write in that manner because I'm such a technical writer.
Yeah, exactly. It's a completely different voice when you're writing technical jargon versus, your memoir.
Right.
They're pretty much polar opposites, other than that writing is involved. Um, Storytelling is now important to you. Tell us a little bit about your love for storytelling.
Well, I've been part of the Palm Springs Writers Guild for many years. And so I've listened to so many wonderful authors about storytelling. And so it became important for me to attempt to do that very thing. And I think it helps people understand parts of life that they're going through if you can tell that story in a way that's compelling.
Absolutely. Talk to us about forgiveness and judgment. They're themes in your books. Talk to us about reconciling those two forces in your own life.
Whoa, that that's one of the more difficult things I've ever had to do, but I
Mhm.
felt necessary. And so when my father was about 80 years old, I was visiting both my mom and dad at their home in Mesa, Arizona, and I had quite a discussion with my father, who had been an alcoholic, which is what caused part of the problem of his viciousness when he was drinking. But then I also became one. And it's something I said would never happen to me in my life. And so I was telling him about that. And of course, he didn't want to believe that, but it was true. But I have this genetic predisposition to alcoholism from grandfather to father to mother to sister to me. And I felt that just putting that down and things that happened to me, especially in the first chapter of my book, I thought that it would show people that also have that issue in their life, that some really horrific things can happen to them, but that they can get through it. So I've gone through the whole AA experience and evolved into who I am today, but with a lot of help.
Yeah, yeah. Well, like as we said in the beginning of the interview, it's not so much where you come from, it's where you're going and where you wind up that matters. I think a lot of people today struggle with alcohol abuse, whether they call themselves an alcoholic or not. It's hard sometimes to distinguish a heavy drinker from a alcoholic, and it's a tough habit to break. That's for sure. Talk to us about whether it's faith or spirituality or philosophy that has helped you in your healing journey.
Hmm. It's all of the above.
Mhm.
Um, but I have a deep faith, and I believe that I was meant to go through the things that I've gone through in my life, whether it's a lesson I needed to learn or not. And I believe that all of my beliefs have helped me heal.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a system. It's not just one thing. If it was just one thing, it'd be easy to point to, but it's your philosophy on life, your outlook, your faith, all of it comes into play, no doubt. What lessons about resilience and self-love do you hope readers take away from your book?
Resilience is an interesting word, and a lot of people don't think they have it until they reach the bottom, or they're very ill, or mentally they've got issues that they don't know how to deal with. But most people have a level of resilience that they just have to dig for to find it, to come through situations that are very difficult. And I've seen it in so many people who have come to me for help. Even when I was a dean at a college, I'd have students come to me with horrific problems and emotional and physical problems that they didn't know how to get through. So obviously, I'm not a counselor, but people would turn to me, and I've learned through helping others and being helped by others. I think that strength and resilience comes from the belief that you can survive and you can get through something, no matter how difficult it is.
Absolutely. Let me ask you this, looking back, what message would you give to your younger self during your darkest times?
Oh, my youngest self had a lot of messages. Um, you can get through this, get up, keep dancing, and
Mm,
move on.
yeah, great
And she
advice.
did. And
Yep,
she did.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and start all over again, right? Yeah.
Yeah, you want me to sing it?
Yeah. Absolutely, sure. This is a great work you've done here, and we appreciate you sharing your story with us today on TV and also on the pages of this extraordinary book. It is called Three Faces of the Devil, An American Tragedy, My Father's Daughter, Judgment versus Forgiveness, A Life Reborn. It is written by Marly Bergerud, and it is a brave and powerful memoir that proves healing is possible and that telling your story can inspire others to survive and thrive. Marly, thank you so much for joining me here today.
Thank you so much for the interview.
I appreciate your time, your insight, your candor, and your wisdom. To the folks at home, I'm Logan Crawford for the Global Book Network. So long for now.